this meeting to order. Today is Thursday, December 19th, 2013. Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Councilor Graney?
Yes.
Councilor Camardo?
Here.
Councilor Smith? Councilor Rizika?
Here.
Mayor Quill.
Here. Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And if you remain standing for a moment of silent prayer reflection. Thank you. Please be seated. We will start out with a public to be heard. Clerk, if you would.
At this time, we will open the public to be heard portion of our meeting. As a reminder and pursuant to City Council rules of procedure, prior to addressing council, speakers are asked to state their name, address, and affiliation, if any. The remarks should be limited to 3 minutes and concern only issues involving the City Council, city government, or matters of general city concern. Issues involving specific employees of the city should be directed to the city manager outside of the meeting, and all speakers before council should observe commonly accepted rules of courtesy. Personal attacks or abusive language will be ruled out of order.
Thank you. At this time, is there anyone desiring to be heard? Mr. Berry, please.
John Berry, 53 Lansing Street, Tangles Hair Salon. Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm here again for the first reading of the ordinance to reinstate parking back on Lansing Street. The new alternate parking has been detrimental to my wife's business, with all cars parked on the street from the medical building and hospital parking in front of her business. Her clients have nowhere to park. If you vote yes on this ordinance, her clients will be able to park on the other side of the street as they have since the building was built. I know you are all pro-small business, so please vote yes next week. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Berry. Council, it was my error. I forgot to ask permission if we can bring a walk-on resolution, or our first ordinance number 13, if that could be added to the agenda this evening, and also council resolution number 139. Is that agreeable?
Yes.
Very good. Please add it to the record if you would. Mr. Quill.
The comedy crew, Norm and I. Ron Quill, Case Avenue. On behalf of the members of the Salvation Army Board of Directors, which Billy is part, Norm's part, and I am, and 18 other people, we want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year. And we want to once again thank everybody for all the help and donations that they've given us throughout the year. And once again, Merry Christmas, and don't forget, when you hear that jingle of the bell out in front of one of the stores, please add a little to it. That's what keeps us going through the year. That's where our money comes from to run the organization in the city. And that's all. Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? No one else? We'll move forward to council. I just received word from the clerk that due to a computer malfunction, the minutes will not be available tonight, but they will be available on Monday night's meeting. So we'll move along past that.
Oh, may I interrupt?
Please.
On Monday, you'll have the minutes from November 26th all the way through tonight, so that the only ones outstanding will be for the 23rd of December.
Well, that will be the night of the meeting.
Right,
Okay.
that's why.
All right.
I'm good, but I'm not that good.
Presentations and proclamations?
None.
We were scheduled to have a presentation by the New York State Office of Fire Prevention and Control. Due to their inability to be with us tonight, that has been canceled for this evening. Public announcements?
I have one. The mayor's office has announced that the governor's office has notified the city that the national, is it 6 units?
Six soldiers.
Oh, 6 soldiers. I'm sorry. 6 soldiers from the National Guard will be returning to the city on Saturday afternoon at 3:30, and the mayor's invited the public to join him on the steps of City Hall to welcome them back to the city from being overseas.
3:30, you said, right?
Right.
3:30, yes. That's the approximate time, Counselor.
And the date again?
Saturday.
Saturday.
Anything else?
That's it.
Thank you. City Manager's report?
Just one item, an update on the Owasco Lake level. We continue to discharge as best we can. Unfortunately, when we get this warm weather, we get snow melt, comes into the lake, and so the lake level's not dropping as fast as we had hoped. We have met with some adjoining property owners who live on the lake and explained that to them, and we're committed to better communication with them with regard to what's going on right now. As you recall, the outflow has been restricted because of the construction on the dams. So again, if you hear anything about that, we're fielding the phone calls through my office or through municipal utilities.
Did it?
Yes.
Thank you. Presentation of petitions and communications?
None.
Seeker resolutions?
None.
This will be the first reading, am I correct, Mr. Rossi?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ordinance number 13 of 2013, amending Section 285 of the City Code entitled Vehicles and Traffic.
Okay, sure. Ordinance number 13 of 2013, whereas the Auburn City Council has enacted Chapter 285 of the Auburn Municipal Code entitled Vehicles and Traffic, which deals with not only traffic flow but parking, and whereas it is desired that a section of the current code be amended in order to provide a benefit to a section of the city, and whereas it is desirous to amend the year-round alternate side parking as it relates to Lansing Street, and whereas Section 285-14 of the Auburn City Code entitled Parking, Standing, and Stopping Restrictions, paragraph A, be amended to read as follows. Lansing Street, north and south, unrestricted parking on the north and south sides of the street from Nelson Street to North Fulton. Now therefore be it ordained that the Auburn City Council does hereby amend Chapter 285 of the Auburn City Code entitled Vehicles and Traffic, namely Section 285-14 of the Auburn City Code entitled Parking, Standing, and Stopping Restrictions, paragraph A, be amended to read as follows. Lansing Street, north and south, unrestricted parking on the north and south sides of the street from Nelson Street to North Fulton Street. And be it further ordained that the City Council of the City of Auburn, New York, that this ordinance shall take effect upon its publication.
Thank you. Council Resolution number 139, dealing with authorizing the payment to New York State and local retirement systems. Do we have a sponsor? Councilor Camardo, second by Councilor Rizika.
Council Resolution number 139 of 2013 by Councilor Camardo, seconded by Councilor Rizika. Whereas the New York State Comptroller has submitted an invoice to the City of Auburn for its pension costs to be paid for the year of 2014, and whereas the prepayment was due on December 15th, 2013 in the amount of $2,711,530, and said payment has not been made. And whereas the Auburn City Council is desirous that said payment be made in the amount of $2,711,530, now therefore be it resolved that the Auburn City Council does hereby direct a payment in the amount of $2,711,530 be paid to the New York State State and local retirement system as a prepayment for its total obligation for the contributions for the year 2014.
Councilor Camardo?
By prepaying this, we're going to save the city approximately $38,000, correct?
The prepayment. And again, we missed the deadline, so we'll be submitting the payment if council approves this with an appeal that they accept the payment.
But it will save us about $38,000.
Right. And it also basically makes the payment, and there's no opportunity for reconsideration of the pension amortization.
Now, this is $2.7 million out of what, 4.3 that we owe, and
Roughly, yes.
you make these twice a year, is that what happens?
I think it is twice a year. This is the first installment.
Final is February 1.
Yeah.
And the payment's due February.
February 1 is
We didn't prepay.
the normal due date.
You mentioned something, Mr. Selby, in regards to the timeliness. Would you care to go in a little further into that? I thought you said something about the timeliness, or when it has to be paid or something. Am I missing something?
December 15th was the date, which is on the invoice, that if we wanted to prepay, that's when they said, you need to prepay and postmark it by that date. We missed that date.
So we make the prepayment, and I guess what I'm saying is we're appealing to them to accept it and accept that prepayment amount.
So there's a possibility they may not accept it, and we won't be saving the $38,000. Am I
That's
correct?
possible. We don't know at this point.
No, I understand that, but
Okay.
that is a possibility
Yeah.
that it may not work, okay.
I'm sure they'll accept the payment.
It's government, Counselor.
And Doug, that money's already been budgeted and put aside for this, correct?
Yes, during the budgeting process, we budgeted the full amount for the pensions.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was clear early on that when we just, in the budget discussions regarding the pension smoothing, that we were not in favor of doing that for some very reason of the amortization, which is we didn't want to use a, what I'm going to call as a delayed payments where you, or deferred payments and making interest payments. We wanted to pay it right off. To me, I viewed the pension smoothing as a gimmick, and I think in many ways this amortization is kind of a mirror of that. I'm not in favor of the amortization simply because it does tend to bind future councils. They have to make those payments. And if the city has cash flow problems, doing the amortization will make a benefit there, but it comes at a penalty.
Well, I think we made it clear at the time that we had our budget discussions that we ruled against the pension smoothing. But the thing that I have a problem with is I'm worried about, are we able to pay these bills in the future if we keep putting them off? So we have we're obligated to pay it now. We're going to save $38,000. We have the ability to pay the bill, so let's get it paid instead of trying to
And it was
kick the ball
budgeted.
down the street, as the old saying goes. But I think we got to pay these bills as we get them and try to move forward with it. And I'm very concerned about how we're going to pay our pension bills in the future, especially when our fund balance starts to get depleted as it has in the past years. So I hope we can get through some of these difficult times, but our pension costs keep going up. They went up to $4.3 million this year, I believe. I'm sure they're going to be going up in the future, but we're going to have to make some very serious decisions in the future in regards to making these payments.
I agree with you. The decisions will need to be made will have to be fiscally responsible. We need to make every effort for sustainability, and it's going to be a balancing act, but we'll get there.
Council, I plan to vote against this for basically for two reasons. One is the time issue. We don't like to defer payments when they're due to us, and I don't think we should be asking the same of the state. And secondly, I think this is a question that should be brought before the new council. I think they should be able to weigh in on this particular issue. So, having said that, clerk, if you call the roll, please.
I would agree with you, Mayor, but I'm concerned about almost $40,000 in savings that if we miss this deadline. So I want to make that point.
Understood, Counselor, and I can't say I disagree with you, but I think timing and a new council should be able to weigh in. If you call the roll, please.
Counselor Graney?
Yes.
Counselor Camardo?
Yes.
Counselor Rozika?
Yes.
Mayor Quill?
No.
Carried.
Local laws,
None.
table legislation.
None.
Other business, Council?
I just have one. Doug, on our window performance contract, I believe it's what it's called, I see they're doing a lot of work in the city. They're changing the water meters, and down at DPW, they're changing light fixtures and
Yes.
with the energy audit. No local contractors have been asked to do any business locally. We're spending all this money. We bonded a lot of money for this project, and I don't see any local contractors doing any of the work at all.
We hired Wendell, and they subcontract that work out to their lowest bidder, or the ones that they've worked with in the past.
But we have there's no local contractors doing any work at all.
I would have to check. I don't know. There's multiple things going on.
And as we move forward in the contract, is there an opportunity to try to work with our local contractors to do any of this work so that it's not, I understand one company's in here from Indiana doing work, and
But we've brought it to Wendell's attention, the company we're doing business with, and so we'll follow up on it.
would you let us know
Yeah.
in future meetings, please? All I had, Mayor, thank you.
But basically, basically they're using their bidding process to give the lowest cost. So ultimately, I can understand this, both sides of the equation here. We're concerned about keeping these dollars local, but then again, we also want to have the best service for the lowest cost. So these are the balancing acts that we have to do.
But are our contractors even getting an opportunity to bid on this? Are they aware of it? It's local work, and
That I'm not sure.
Tax
This may be a
dollars.
standing contract they had with this company after they had it for a competitive bid. I don't know the history.
well, that's what I'd like to know.
Anything else, council? I'll wrap it up by saying Merry Christmas to everyone, and everyone in the listening audience. Keep in mind, next Thursday night, we will not be here. Our council meeting will be held at 5 p.m. Monday night, and then the next council meeting following that will be on January 1st here at 12 noon. So, with that, do we have a request for executive session?
A short one, Mayor, personnel matter.
A short one. We haven't had a short
Well,
one yet, but
it's up to you.
we'll go with that. So, do we entertain a motion for executive session? Councilor Graney, seconded by Councilor Rozika. Clerk, if you call the roll, please.
Counselor Graney?
Yes.
Counselor Camardo?
Yes.
Counselor Rozika?
Yes.
Mayor Quill?
Before I vote, this has got to be getting close to the record. It's 6:17, but I'll vote yes for executive session. We'll be in recess.